فإنه غير منقوص ما أعطيت، وزدني من فضلك يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام، يا ذا النعماء والجود، يا ذا المن والطول، حرم شيبتي على النار. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم، إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم، تنزيل العزيز الرحيم، لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمهون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب، فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم، وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون، إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى
معصوم کے کاندھوں پہ جنازہ ہے نقی کا، معصوم کے کاندھوں پہ جنازہ ہے نقی کا، زہرا سے تو پوچھے کوئی غم کیا ہے نقی کا، معصوم کے کاندھوں پہ جنازہ ہے نقی کا، پھر اجڑے ہیں سادات قیامت کا ہے منظر، پھر اجڑے ہیں سادات قیامت کا ہے منظر، اب سر پہ کسی کے کہاں سایہ ہے نقی کا، اب سر پہ کسی کے کہاں سایہ ہے نقی کا، معصوم کے کاندھوں پہ جنازہ ہے نقی کا، پردیس میں ڈھایا گیا وہ کعبہ امام، پردیس गम है क्या नकी का बर मोहम्मद आल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु।
Can I request you to recite Surah Fatiha for tonight's sponsors, for the Isal Sawab of Marhuma, for the Isal Sawab of Marhuma Fatma Muhammad Raza Sachu and all Marhumin Al-Fatiha.
Can we adjust this glass to be on little on top? Can you adjust the glass to come out? رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على رسول رب العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما على الإمام المنتظر، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم القرآن الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فعقروها فقال: تمتعوا في داركم 3 أيام فذلك وعد غير مكذوب. صلوات. Shaykh sir, okay, that's exact. At the very outset, allow me to extend my sincere condolences to all of you on this very sad occasion of the Shahadat of our 10th Imam, Imam Ali al-Naqi, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And in view of the munasabat, while we will speak about this personality, there's also something that we need to discuss about the month that we are in. And if you recall, I had promised you that in subsequent majalis I would be focusing on subsequent majalis, and in the khutbat of Fridays we would discuss a lot more about this month. And today there is one point that I need to explain to you, primarily because of the day that we are in and the date that we are in. And in order to understand that, the first portion will be relating to Rajab, and then we will move on to the personality of Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salam. As Shias, we have got a problem in our approach to ibadat. And whenever we come to the month of Rajab, I've always emphasized that we tend to be a community of passive worshippers as opposed to active worshippers. Now, what do I mean by passive worship and active worship? We are more prone to being passive in our ibadat than active. Meaning what? Meaning we would rather not perform the act, but rather be a recipient of the act. So for example, if you're given a choice between praying 12 rakat namaz or sitting down and listening to Surah Yasin, most of us, a large number of us, would rather sit down and listen rather than pray. We would more be prone to listening to the nahas and qasidas rather than ourselves going and reciting something. We always at kehte na ki rahat talab. You go to the harams of the Masumin and still you would see over there individuals, young boys. And when I'm saying young, 40, 45, 20, 25, they're standing in the dari of a Masum and then they're reciting salam sitting down. Not that it is bad, but hamara ek fitrat hai ki we always want to be in ease and comfort. Whereas I've personally witnessed when Marhum Ayatollah Behjat was alive, every morning 7 o'clock in Qum, he would come before the dari of Hadrat Masuma at that age of 90 plus, 85 plus. For 1 hour he would stand, that old man, 1 hour he would stand before the dari, complete the whole ziyarat and then walk out. So that's the level of marifat that they have. This is the level of marifat that I have. At the least first opportunity I will sit down and pray that entire ziyarat, whereas that old man will stand because of his understanding who the personality is talking to. And we always tend to be that way. We tend to be very passive. Fair enough. But there's a limit when we need to be passive and when we start becoming active. When we come to the month of Rajab, that is when we need to change our mindset. We cannot remain passive anymore. Because passive ibadat has its value and thawab and rewards. But it doesn't reach the value of an active ibadat, doing it yourself, not just being recipient of that ibadat. And why do I say this? I say this because in the month of Rajab when you come, you have to realize this month of Rajab is basically the start of something very important in the academic, in the Islamic calendar. While our year starts, the month starts, and the new year starts from Muharram. But this month of Rajab is the start that leads up to something that is extremely important in our lives, which comes once in the entire year, and that is Laylatul Qadr. Rajab is the start of developing and enhancing our spirituality in the lead up to the Laylatul Qadr. Keep this in mind. And hence, it becomes very important. If you pick up Mafatihul Jinan, the first month of the year is Muharram. But in the Amal section of Mafatihul Jinan, it doesn't start with Muharram. It starts with Rajab. Why? This is the reason. Rajab is the start for enhancement of spiritual purification in the lead up to the Laylatul Qadr, which is that one night which will change our dunya and akhirat. And if you go to see, you look at the Amal of Rajab, you look at the Amal of Sha'ban, you look at the Amal of Shahru Ramadan, and you will see consistent upgrading of the Amal. Immediately from Jamadi Thani to Rajab, there's a massive jump. But immediately from Rajab to Sha'ban, there's a jump in the Amal. And then when you go to Maha Ramadan, it's all ibadat and ibadat. Why? Primarily to achieve that level of spirituality so as to allow us to get maximum benefit of Laylatul Qadr. And this is not something that for you and me. This is not just for you and me. This even goes place with respect to our 12th Imam, Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Askari, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. When we used to listen to the dars of Ayatollah Jawadi Amli Hafadullah, I have personally heard it from my own ears. So this is not hearsay. This is, I have heard it. He says, from the start of the month of Ramadan. So when I say enhancing our spirituality in our endeavor to derive maximum benefit of Laylatul Qadr, because that is one night in the entire year which will change our destinies in dunya and akhirah. He says not only us, even Imam Zamana in his endeavor to reach a state to receive تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. Every single aspect of the universe from that day till the next year, for the entire year, is being revealed by Allah. And don't think it is only for humans. It says that min kulli amr. That means every single thing that is going to take place in the universe for that 1 year is going to be revealed and descended in the presence of Imam Zamana. Aga was saying, in order for him to receive that absolute important message and important information that is so lofty, when you say min kulli amr, means every single ant that is going to eat food, every single insect that needs to be fed, min kulli amr, that is going to take place in the universe, comes before Imam Zaman. For him, he has to develop the receptacle to acquire, to develop the vessel within himself to acquire this absolute communication from God. See, in Ulumul Quran, there is one discussion when it says, why is it necessary for God not to communicate with us directly? And why does he need an intermediary in the Holy Prophet? One of the reasons is this, that our spirituality and our internal vessel does not have the capacity to take that mind-blowing, powerful communication of God within ourselves. And the ulama say, if even one letter of Quran, say alif lam mim alif, if alif were to come directly from God to us, it is so powerful, it would be so overwhelming that each of us would explode if it were to come directly to us. And hence it is important for the Quran to be revealed into a heart that has the ability to receive that powerful communication, water it down to the level that we understand, take it out from his tongue that you and I then are able to read and understand. And hence we have that intermediary in the Holy Prophet, that the Quran is revealed to him, he takes it because he's got that spiritual ability, then he waters it down to our level, and then when he says alif lam mim, we are able to understand and read. So for even Imam Zamana needs to enhance his spirituality to a level to be able to receive that communication from Allah min kulli amr on this Laylatul Qadr. And so when it comes to us, it becomes very important. But coming back to the fact that this Rajab is the start of the enhancement. But this Rajab also has its impact, because you cannot get that level of spiritual refinement unless you do active ibadat. Listening to Surah Yasin is good. You'll get the thawab, but it is very different from reciting it yourself. And listening to something is very different from doing it yourself. And you will see in the month of Ramadan, let alone the month of Ramadan, come month of Shaban, there is every night of month of Shaban, there is a namaz. 30 rakats, 40 rakats, 50 rakats. Why? To prepare ourselves to go there. So that's point number one. Point number two is this, that in this month of Rajab, we have, okay, leave Rajab aside. There are certain things that have been told by the Ma'sumin when it comes to our akhirat. And that is that, look, one reality is you're going to go down into the grave. But when you go down into the grave, there are certain things that will come to us. And certain things will afflict us. And that is why we've got the tradition of the sixth Imam. لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ أَنْكَرَ الثَّلَاثَةَ عَشْيَةً. Not from us is one who rejects three things. One, he says, الشفاعة. Second, Mi'raj. And third, Musa'alatul Qabr. So Shafa'at and Mi'raj, you understand. In another tradition, they have one more, which is Rajat. But common thing is Musa'alatul Qabr. Musa'alatul Qabr means question answers. Question answer between Munkar and Nakir and ourselves. The conversation that goes. Means conversation, Musa'ala. It says, whoever rejects the Munkar and Nakir coming into the grave and talking to us and asking us questions, Man Rabbuka, Man Nabiyuka, Man Imamuka. If you reject it, laysa minna, he's not from us. You can go and find some other leaders, not us. Knowing this, there have been certain realities that we've been told to. Listen to this, because I'm leading to a very important point. And then we come to Imam Ali al-Naqi. I'm going to tell you an incident about Shaykh Muhaddith al-Nuri. Now, Shaykh Muhaddith al-Nuri. Shaykh Muhaddith al-Nuri is the teacher of Shaykh Abbas Qumi, Mafatih al-Janan. Mafatih al-Janan, you know? Yeah. Unke Ustad Shaykh Muhaddith al-Nuri. Ajib shakhsiyat. Both of them, the student and the teacher, are buried in the Haram of Imam Ali alayhi salam in Najaf. On both sides of the doors. You have a look. When you go there, you must visit these graves of these personalities. Shaykh Nouri, Muhaddath Nouri, and Shaykh Abbas Khami buried in the Haram. The Shaykh Muhaddath Nouri was at the time of Shaykh Mirza Buzurg Tehran. And he was in Najaf and then Karbala, and then they moved to Samara. When the Hausa moved to Samara, it's a long story. Some other time about the history of the Hausa. We'll discuss, sometime we'll talk about it. But Shaykh Muhaddath Nouri saying, one day when I was in Najaf, I went to Wadi Salam to do ziyarat of qubur. Says, as I was doing, I'm leaving out all the paraphernalia. Says, I went to do ziyarat of qubur. As I was reciting the ziyarat in Wadi Salam, all of a sudden, I hear the shriek and the shouting of a camel, as if he's being branded. Now, in olden days, when you had numerous camels, people would have numerous camels. How do you identify which camel is mine? So they had a process by means of which they would brand the camel. So they would have a mold. They would heat that mold, the dye, and then they would hit it to the body of the animal. That body of the animal, that portion would get burnt. And then that would remain imprinted onto the body that will identify this is my camel. So that was in olden days, they would brand the camel. When they would brand it, because it was hot, it would shriek, it would shout. He says, I was reciting, and all of a sudden I heard the shout of a camel being branded. And it was so sensitive, it was so deeply touching, it was so painful that I was forced to turn away from my ziyarat, and I said, let me find out where this camel is to find out and probably save it. So he said, I left my ziyarat, I went to the direction of the camel to find out and help it. So I went in the direction of the camel. From far, I'm seeing the voice coming, the sound and the shrieking coming from some place. But I'm not seeing the camel. I go near, I'm not seeing the camel. I go near, I see something, I'm left astounded. He says, I'm left astounded because the shout was so, कहते हैं ना उर्दू में दिल खराश, इतनी हज़ीन, इतनी दर्दनाक कि एक मर्तबा जो है, it felt as if the whole Wadi Salam is being affected by that painful shriek and shout of that. He says, but I'm not seeing the camel. All that I'm seeing is a new body, a new person who's died, Taza Janaza, is lying over there, and the voice and the shout of shrieking is coming from it. And I'm looking around, and what is surprising is that while the shouting and the shrieking is coming from that mayyat, but next to him there are two people who are digging the grave, and they are khoon sard. Kehte Farsi mein, khoon sard budan. Asan hiç nami fahmidan chimi shod. They didn't understand what was happening. And they were just going on the job of digging the grave, whereas I could actually hear that dead body shrieking. Now you understood that? समझ गए क्या बात है? अब मैं आपकी तरफ एक रिवायत की तरफ ले चलता हूँ. This riwayat is found in Bihar al-Ulwan and Mustadrak al-Wasail. Let me read it out to you so that you know where I'm taking you. Yeah, this riwayat is narrated by one of the companions of the Holy Prophet by the name of Thawban ibn Hunayn. Now he's narrating this tradition, and I want you to pay attention. I'm reading it in Arabic. I will translate it very quickly so that you understand. These things we don't take out from our pockets. I'm giving you references. If you want the base number, book number, Rasal al-Shia, Mustadrak al-Wasail, 2-3 places he's mentioned. Bihar al-Ulwan was also there. Listen to what Thawban says. He says, we were walking with the Holy Prophet. So now he says, وَعَنْ ثُعْبَانْ قَالْ كُنَّا بِالنَّبِي فِي مَقْبَرَةٍ. We were passing with the Holy Prophet, we were passing, going with him, we happened to be passing through a maqbara, through a qabristan. في مقبرة فوقف ثم مر ثم وقف ثم مر. As we entered the qabristan, we walked. Then he says, فوقف, he stopped. Then he started going forward. Then فوقف, he stopped again. ثم مر, then he started walking again. So Thawban says, فَقُلْتُ يَا أَبِي أَنْتَ بِأُمِّي يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. May my father be sacrificed for you, O Rasulullah. مَا وُقُوفَكَ بَيْنَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْقُبُورِ. Why are you standing between these graveyards, in this grave, within this graves? You're going, you're stopping, you're going, you're stopping, you're going, you're stopping. مَا وُقُوفَكَ. Why are you standing? فَبَكَى رَسُولُ اللَّهِ بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا. Rasulullah started crying شديد. بُكَاءً شديد. زار قطار رونا شروع کرتے. فَبَكَيْنَا وَبَكَيْنَا. As soon as we saw him crying, we began to cry. It affected us so much that we began to cry. Now, don't be carried away. Oh, how is it possible somebody cries, the other people cry? Those who, if you had been to Ayatollah, if you had been at the time of Ayatollah Bahjat, when he would recite namaz, yeah? I know of people who were there for 50 years in Najaf, in Qum. And they would say, for 50 years, we would see Ayatollah Bahjat in his prayers, he would cry. He would start Surah Tawheed and he would start crying. And I'm saying this because I'm a witness. We used to pray behind him. And he would start praying, and the entire congregation behind him would start praying. यानी इंसान जो जिसके नुफूस पाक होते हैं ना, इस तरह जो है, it affects the other people. And that is why we have said, interact with people whose face reminds you of God, whose talk reminds you of God, whose behavior reminds you of God and takes you to God. So, Thuban says, فَبَكَى رَسُولُ اللَّهِ بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا, the Prophet cried shadid, وَبَكَيْنَا, and we started to cry as well. فَلَمَّا فَرَغَ, when he stopped crying, قال, he said, يَا ثَوْبان, the Holy Prophet says, يَا ثَوْبان هَؤُلَاء يُعَذَّبُونَ فِي قُبُورِهِمْ. The reason I'm crying is that these inhabitants of the grave, they were being punished, shadid, in the grave. فَرَحِمْتُهُمْ فَسَمِعْتُ عَنِينَهُمْ فَرَحِمْتُهُمْ. And I heard their shrieking and I heard their shouting. You heard that what Muhaddis An-Nuri said about that individual. Prophet is saying, in the grave, I heard سَمِعْتُ عَنِينَهُمْ فَرَحِمْتُهُمْ. I heard the shrieking and I developed rahmat for them. فَدَعَوْتُ اللَّهِ, then I prayed to Allah, أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْهُمْ فَفَعَلَ. I prayed to God, God, थोड़ा रहम कर इन पर. इतना शदीद अज़ाब ये बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सके. He's there from my ummah. He accepted my prayer and then he did takhfif, he reduced the adab. Then he says, this is where I want to take you. He says, فَلَوْ سَامُوا هَؤُلَاء أَيَّامَ رَجَبٍ وَقَامُوا فِيهَا مَا عُذِّبُوا فِي قُبُورِهِمْ. He's saying, I wish these people who are being punished to such an extent that I, the Prophet of God, was become majboor, means I found it myself necessary to stop, to go, to weep, and then to pray to Allah to reduce the adab. Oh, how I wish these people had fasted in the month of Rajab and they had prayed the night of the month of Rajab. Now just listen to this. This is the start of it. He says, how I wish they had fasted in the month of Rajab. And how I wish in the nights of the month of Rajab they had spent in the ibadat of Allah. Because had this been happened, مَا عُذِّبُوا فِي قُبُورِهِمْ, they would not have been punished in the qabr as they are being punished now. فقلت, Thuban says, فقلت, I said, Ya Rasulullah, siyamuhu wa qiyamuhu aman min adhab al-qabr. Is the fasting of the month of Rajab and ibadat in the nights of Rajab amanun? Is that a protection from the punishment of the grave? قال نعم. The Prophet says, yes. Now listen. Now we understand. Look, we've been to this world. We're probably not in Pakistan, India, or East Africa. We're in the West. It takes time. Nobody can say, oh, we fast 30 days of 29, 30 days of Rajab, and we stand the whole night, 29, 30 days. We know this, they knew it. We know this, they knew it. You know the reason why the two namazes we pray, we jump by in a salat, Dhuhr and Asr, and Maghrib and Isha? Why? Do you know that? Reason has come. The Prophet says, I see a time in the future when my ummah will not have time for prayers. To make things easy on them, I'm joining the prayers. These have been sought and seen and foreseen by the Ma'asumeen well before our times. We don't think ourselves too intellectual that we think about it. They thought about it and they've made arrangements for it. Over here, the same thing. They know that 30 days and 29 days of Rajab, nobody will fast. 30 days and 30 nights and 29 nights of Rajab, nobody will stand up in prayers. But he says, something you can do. And he's telling what something you can do. He says, Thuban asks, the nights of Rajab in ibadat, the days of Rajab in fasting, is that protection from the adab of the qabr? He says, Naam, yes. Ya Thuban, walladhi ba'athani bil haqqi nabiyya. I swear by that entity who sent me as a prophet. Ma min muslimin wala muslimatin. There is no Muslim male and there is no Muslim female. Yasumu yawman min Rajab. There is no Muslim male or a Muslim female, yasuma yawman, one day in Rajab. Gaur se suniega. There is no excuse for us. There is no Muslim male, there is no Muslim female, except that he fasts one day in Rajab. وَقَامَ لَيْلَةً يُرِيدُ بِذَلِكَ وَجْهَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى إِلَّا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَهُ. A person, a mu'minah, fasts one day in Rajab and spends one night in the ibadat of God, a portion of the night in the ibadat of God, except that Allah writes for him. Then he starts off a list of the ibadat, of the thawab that comes to a person who fasts for one day in Rajab and spends one night or part of a night in the ibadat of God. Listen to this, This is called the mercy of God. This is called the generosity of God. This is called the sakhavat of God, and this is called the marhamat of Rajab. He says, what happens when somebody fasts one day and spends one night in ibadat or part of the night in ibadat? He says, Allah will write for him, ibadatu alf sanatin siyamu nahariha wa qiyamu layliha. Allah will write for him 1 year of ibadat. That ibadat of 1 year will be such as if he's fasted all the entire 354, 55 days of the year. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Who's fasted 354 Islamic days of the year. In the night, the days he spent in fasting, the night he spent in ibadat. 1 year of ibadat. وَكَأَنَّمَا حَجَّ أَلْفَ حَجَّةٍ وَعَتَمَرَ أَلْفَ عُمْرَةٍ. And as if he's done 1,000 hajj and 1,000 umrah. وَكَأَنَّمَا غَزَى أَلْفَ غَزْوَةٍ. And as if he has fought alongside the Holy Prophet 1,000 battles. The battles that were fought alongside when the Prophet himself took part were called Ghazwa. And in which he was not, they called Siriya, that he was not there. He says, no, not the battles in which the Prophet did not take place, did not participate. He would be given rewards of 1,000 battles that the person was in the company of the Holy Prophet in the battle. وَكَأَنَّمَا وَأَعْتَقَتَ أَلْفَ رَقَبَةٍ مِّن وُلْدِ إِسْمَعِيلٍ. And he would be given the rewards of freeing 1,000 slaves from the lineage of Nabi Ismail. وَكَأَنَّمَا تَصَدَّقَ بِأَلْفِ دِينَارٍ. And it will be as if he will be given rewards, as if he's done sadaqah of 1,000 dinars. وَكَأَنَّمَا اشْتَرَى أُسَارَ أُمَّتِي فَأَعْتَقَهُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. And it is as if he has purchased 1,000 prisoners of war who were taken captives in the battles of the Muslimin. He purchased them and then frees them in the way of God and the pleasure of God. That reward will be added to it. وَكَأَنَّمَا أَشْبَعَ أَلْفِ جَائِعٍ. And it will be as if he has fed 1,000 people. وَآمَنَهُ اللَّهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ الْقَبْرِ. And in addition to all that I have mentioned, وَآمَنَهُ اللَّهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ الْقَبْرِ. Allah will protect him from that punishment that made that Mayyat shout out so much that Muhaddith Nuri had to leave his ziyarah to help him out. وَحَوْلَ مُنْكَرٍ نَكِيرٍ. And he will protect him from the fright of Munkar and Nakir. قِيلَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ هذا الثواب كله لمن صام يوما واحدا وقام ليلة واحدة. Is this the reward for somebody who fasts one day in Rajab and does the ibadat in one night or part of the night in Rajab? समझो छोटा मैं समझ में आ रही है बात कि where we are going हम क्या बयान कर रहे हैं? Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because today is Wednesday, and I'm saying this that tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow Thursday is going to be Shab-e Jummah. And pick up Mafatihul Jinan and you will find that Shaykh Abbas Khumi and Sayyid Ali, Sayyid ibn Taus and all the other muhaddithin and all the maraji, they mentioned there is one, the first Shab-e Jummah is referred to as Laylatul Raghaib. In Laylatul Raghaib, the amal, don't come and let's not talk about the sihat of it. The ulama are sitting over here, they know. At-tasamuhu fi adillat as-sunan. They've understood what I'm talking about. There is those people that talk about its sihat and authenticity and fulan and fulan. I can give you so many instances when certain thing is not proven, but none of the maraja said don't do it. None of the maraja said they don't do it. Especially one example, going for the ziyarat of, the ghusl for the ziyarat of the imams, not Masumin, not the Prophet. Okay, this is short and I'll leave it. But on tomorrow night, tomorrow is Thursday. And tomorrow night, Laylatul Jummah. The first Laylatul Jummah in Rajab is referred to as Laylatul Raghaib. For Laylatul Raghaib, it is mentioned that this the ibadat of the day and the night means what? It starts off on Thursday. We need to fast on Thursday. And then when the night comes between Maghrib and Isha, there is a certain amal that you've seen in your timetable. We've allocated, the Jamaat has allocated 1 hour. This entire ibadat, which includes the fasting in the day on Thursday and the amal of the night, an hour at the most. But the rewards say this entire package is then taken up, and on the day of judgment, and as soon as a person goes into the grave, this package is then converted. It is made into embodiment of deed, into a beautiful person that comes into the grave. And when it comes into the grave, he tells that the person who's mayyat asks him, who are you? I've never seen somebody so handsome as you, wearing so beautiful clothes as you, smelling so fragrant as you. Who are you? He says, I am that Laylatul Raghaib amal that you've done. Why have you come? He says, Allah has sent me in His mercy to protect you. From now up to the day of judgment, when you stand up before Allah, every problem that comes, I'm there to defend you. If the snakes come, I'm there to defend you. Munkar and Nakir comes, I'm there to comfort you. If there are problems, I'll be there to save you, because Allah in His mercy has said, you have done this amal, I will give you the rewards and you'll be protected up to the day of judgment. Whatever be the case is that we heard the tradition of the Prophet, one day of fasting, one night of ibadat, a portion of the night for ibadat is equivalent to all those benefits in addition to Laylatul Ragab that is added to it as an addition. One day of fasting tomorrow, Thursday. One night of ibadat tomorrow night, Shab-e Jummah. And we qualified to be eligible to receive the rewards that the Prophet says, I wish they had fasted in Rajab. I wish they had spent some time in the night in Rajab for ibadat. Ma yu'adhabuna fi quburihim. Had they done that, they would not have been punished in the grave. ये हमारे पास सब चाबियां हैं. And that is why at times the Ma'asumin say, ta'ajjabtu. I'm muta'ajjib. I'm astonished. We're giving you the keys. You don't want to use it. Ab aap farz kariye. And now that I'm not going to do it, I'm traveling tonight back to Peterborough. Because I can't fast over here. I'll go there, I will fast. Tomorrow after Dhuhr, I'll travel back over here so that I finish that one day of fasting in Rajab. That is first, one day. Not saying one day. I mean, jitna insaan ki taqat hai, wo roze rakh sakte. But this is what it is. They said, ta'ajjab to hum aapko chabiyan de rahe. We give you the keys, you don't use the keys, then you tell me, oh, we are in trouble. We are worried about the akhirah. We give you the keys to save you, but you don't want to use it. Agar the chabiyan hamare paas hai aur hum istemal na kare, to you stand behind the door is locked, you've got the keys, you don't open the door is not opening. Baba, you've got the keys, use it. That is what the Ma'asumin said, ta'ajjab to. I'm ta'ajjab kar raha hu main. Aapke paas raah najat ka jo hai zariya main aapke haath mein de raha hu, aap istemal nahi kar rahe. Aap samajh rahe meri baat? Now this is as far as Rajab goes. This is as far as Laylatul Ragab goes. I intentionally delayed it so that our memories are short. Had I started it very early, by today people would have forgotten. But aaj to Budh hai. Tomorrow is Thursday. There's no excuse for forgetting. सही बात है कि नहीं? एक रात में तो कोई नहीं भूलता. हाँ, वो बात अलग है कि यहाँ से निकलने के बाद मजलिस भूल ही जाती है, लेकिन फिर भी कोशिश करें याद रखने के लिए. इंशाल्लाह जो है वो it'll help out, isn't it? लेकिन इसके बाद we are coming to the main topic, the main things. Who the personality of Imam Ali Naqi alayhi salam. Salawatullahi wa salam. Now, a few dates just so that we have a perspective of how things stand, yeah? So Imam was born in 213 Hijri. He died in 254 Hijri. So 41 years his lifespan was. 220 Hijri, Imam Jawad passes away. So from 213 to 220, he was 7 years old when Imam Jawad passed away. And Imamat comes to him, a 7-year-old child. From 7 years as a 7-year-old child, then his Imamat goes from 220 to 254, almost 34 years. In these 34 years, the Imam had to face the times of 6 Khulafa of Bani al-Abbas. So it starts off with Mu'tasim Abbasi, Wathiq al-Abbasi, Mutawakkil al-Abbasi. Then you got Muntasir al-Abbasi, you got Musta'in al-Abbasi, and you got Mu'taz al-Abbasi. Eventually the person who kills him al-Mu'taz al-Abbasi. Mu'tasim was the son of Harun Rashid and the brother of Mamun. Mu'tasim al-Abbasi was the brother of Mamun, son of Harun Rashid. You know Harun Rashid, one who killed Imam Qadim alayhi salam. Mamun Rashid, one who killed Imam Rida alayhi salam. तो ये उसका भाई और बेटा Mu'tasim. After Mu'tasim kal Wathiq. Wathiq was the son of Mu'tasim. Then you have Mutawakkil coming in. Then Mutawakkil, tradition says, Akfar Bani al-Abbas. He is the most kafir tareen fard of Bani al-Abbas. From Mu'tasim, his son, Mutawakkil, comes his son al-Muntasir. Muntasir al-Abbasi. After Muntasir al-Abbasi, then Mutawakkil ke bhai ka beta, Musta'in, comes to the Khilafat. And then after he dies, Mutawakkil's second son Mu'taz comes, who eventually poisons Imam Naqi alayhi salam. So this is how basically the things stand. There are a lot of things we can discuss of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, but I don't have the time because we also had to cover Laylatul Ragab. But at the same time, I'm here for a short time, like I mentioned at the time of Imam Baqir alayhi salam. we will not have any specific, probably an opportunity, because there are 2-3 things that we need to discuss. Today I will just pick up one aspect of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, and then we finish it off, and I leave the masab to your imagination. You see, if you go to the life of any of the Imams, one thing you will notice, if you were to condense and concise their lives, you could put them into 2 brackets, all the Imams, and more specifically towards the end. Towards the end. That means after Imam Rida alayhi salam. And that is that the entire hum and gum of 2 things. One, to embed and to promote the religion of God upon the earth. And second is to protect the lives of the Shias. These were very important. All their machinations, all their plannings, all their strategies were for these 2 things. Either to embed and promote the religion of God upon the earth, or to protect the lives of the Shias. I'm just hinting at the incident of Ali ibn Yaqtin. You heard about him, Ali ibn Yaqtin. Why was he allowed to work in the Hukumat Jawr, of Zalim Hukumat? He says, you have to help the Shiites. It doesn't work. You want to work, I'm giving you permission only because you have to help the Shiites. So the Shiites, helping the Shiites were top of their list. But one thing I will tell you, that from the 8th Imam, there has been a distinct change in strategy of the Bani al-Abbas. Initially, the Bani al-Abbas, they were based in the area of Baghdad, Iraq, Baghdad, Samarra. The Imams would be in Medina. They would have their spies in Medina, they would have their people in Medina, the governor of Medina who would be watching over the Imams. But Mamun set a sunnat that was so powerful in the eyes of Bani al-Abbas that every Khalifa after Mamun followed that sunnat. Man sanna sunnatan hasanatan falahu ajru man amila biha wa man sanna sunnatan sayyi'atan. Whoever sets up one good sunnat, whoever acts on that sunnat, will get the rewards till the time that sunnat goes on. ये तो सबको पता है ना. और जिसने एक बुरी सुन्नत का जो है इनेकाद किया, हर वो शख्स के उस सुन्नत पर जो अमल करता है, जो है उसका गुनाह उसके सर पर है. Ma'mun started one sunnat that continued right up to the end, till the ghaibat al-sughra, till 260 Hijri, where Imam Askari al-Islam passes away, is killed, and Imam Zamana goes into ghaibat al-sughra. You get me what I'm saying? What is that sunnat? Ma'mun was the first person who realized it is difficult to control the Imams, monitor the Imams, keep a watch of the activities of the Imam while staying in Baghdad when the Imam is in Medina. And so he was the first Khalifa who says, bring that person, the personality of Imam Rida, from Medina to Khurasan, under my eyes. And this proved so effective in the eyes of Bani al-Abbas that every single Khalifa after that embarked on this. Every single Imam after Imam Rida alayhi salam was brought towards the Khilafat, towards the leadership of Bani al-Abbas. You don't take it. Imam Rida pulled up. Imam Jawad pulled up. Imam Naqi pulled up. Imam Askari pulled up. And as they went closer to the 12th Imam, the tashaddud and the ikhtinaq, the suffocation, the monitoring became more and more. Because they were closer to the 12th one. And don't think they don't have it in the hadith. They have in the hadith the names of every single imam that the Prophet had said. ये किसी ने अगर तो आपके गुमान में है कि जो है वो रसूल खुदा उनकी किताबों में जो है मौजूद नहीं है हमारे 12 imam का नाम, तो it's a mistake. In their books you've got the names where the Prophet has named every single individual from Ali to Al-Mahdi. So they knew somebody's coming. And as the time went, the ikhtinaq, the suffocation, the monitoring began to grow more and more. Now, as it began to grow more and more, the Imams had a policy that depending upon the situation, they would modify the strategy. So you go right from the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen till the time of the 11th Imam, you will see a distinct change in strategies. So you see the strategy of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, but immediately after the Shahadat of Imam Husayn alayhi salam comes Imam Sajjad, and you'll see a dramatic change in strategy. There is no confrontation. It's all du'as. Everything is through du'as. I'll give you one sentence, probably mauka mila to we will discuss this in some other occasion of Imam Naqi. Imam Sajjad or Imam Ali Naqi के दरमियान एक बहुत ही तंगातंग रिश्ता है in terms of strategy, in terms of living the life, in terms of strategy to oppose the Bani al-Abbas and Bani al-Umayyah, and in terms of shahadat. एक अजीब व गरीब जो है तंगातंग, सब कब मौका होगा तो हम बताएंगे. आज इंशाल्लाह आज मौका नहीं मिलेगा, बट बहुत ज़्यादा जो है शबाहत है उनकी ज़िंदगियों की. एक शबाहत आपको सिर्फ बताता हूँ. वहाँ Imam Sajjad जो है, when he wanted to counter the influence of Bani al-Umayyah after the shahadat of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, he used the the means of du'as. Imam Naqi, when he wanted to counter the suffocation, the monitoring, the absolute surveillance setup that was set up by the Khulafa al-Bani al-Abbas, he used the concept of ziyarat. अब वो कभी मौका मिला तो हमको बताएंगे कौन सी ज़ियारत है वो. But anyway, एक तो आप जानते हो. Anyway, we'll just go into a different valley. So now when this is the situation, the Imams would modify their strategies to promote the religion of God and to save the Shias based on the approach of the Khulafa. When it came to the time of Imam Naqi alayhi salam, he started a different method. And that method was that he realized, and you have to realize, after Imam Ali al-Naqi, with the 34, 35 years of imamat, the next Imam is Imam Askari alayhi salam. Imam Askari alayhi salam, he's got imamat of only 6 years. 6 saal ki imamat hai. In 6 years, because Imam passes away, the 10th Imam, the 11th Imam comes in 54, and 254 Hijri, the 10th Imam passes away. In 254 Hijri, the 11th Imam becomes the Imam. And 260 Hijri, the 11th Imam is martyred. Shahadat ho jati hai. He's done shaheed, and then Ghaibat al-Sughra begins. It is at that time only 6 years. So Imam Ali al-Naqi is aware that after me, my son has got only 6 years. I can't leave everything to him. Look, when it came to Imam, after Imam Husayn al-Islam, everybody realized, all the Imams realized, we cannot stand up till the Qiyam stands up. We cannot. It was a Mashiach of God. After what happened with Imam Husayn, none of the Imams stood up. None of the Imams stood up against the Khulafa of the time. Because it became an unspoken rule to them, spoken by Allah to them, that nobody will stand up now till Qiyam comes. So all of them started to act in their own way, in their own methodologies based on the Shariat of the time to prepare the people for the arrival of the 12th Imam. But this, as the time came closer to the arrival of the 12th Imam, they realized the urgency and the methodology, the urgency increased. And specifically when it came to the 10th Imam, Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam. When it came to Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, he knows after me there's only 6 years. Hassan, my son, is going to be alive only for 6 years. And in those 6 years, 5 years, Hujjat ibn al-Hasan is going to be born. And at 5 years, he's going to go away. So I need to do a lot because he's got only 6 years. And so, while a lot of effort started from the time of Imam Kadhim alayhi salam in preparing the Shiites of the Ahlul Bayt in preparation for the Ghaibat, when it came to Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, this became even more profound. And I'm picking up probably just 2 of them. I can't discuss everything. I'm looking at the time, and plus the time is up. Masahib bhi jo hai padhne. So he started something that was very profound because he knew, I need to leave behind, I need to do a lot of work because after me only 6 years. And those 6 years are going to be such that is going to be even more suffocating than me. The surveillance is going to be even more than what I'm exposed to. The monitoring is going to be even more than what I am. Because even Imam Askari al-Sam, he would tell his Sahaba, the Shiite, you meet me on the road, don't say salams to me. Don't even look at me. Yabna Rasulullah, you the Hujjat of God, how can we not say salam? Don't say salams, because if you say salam, you're going to get killed. Now you cannot say salam. How are you going to have interaction with the Imam? What is going to happen? How are you going to deal with things? It will have to be so surreptitious and so covert. So what Imam Naqi al-Islam, I'm just picking up 2 things. One thing that Imam Naqi al-Islam did, and it's just a pointers, yeah? Every time, look, we cannot spoon feed. We can give you some points and then you need to go and do your own research. Everybody's got to do their own research, isn't it? One of the things, 2 things we'll mention. One of the things that Imam did was that up to now, everything that was given by the other Masumin in terms of teachings was in the form of verbal, spoken. It was from heart to heart and tongue to ears. So nothing was written down. It was all verbal, ahadith. So even when you have the narrators from the time of Imam Baqir al-Islam, Imam Sadiq al-Islam, these are all narrations. You didn't have any particular book, mudawwan, absolutely written down. But when it came to Imam Ali al-Naqi, he realized, after I go 6 years, the ghaibat will come. When the ghaibat comes, there is no Imam in front of everybody. This person, this grandson of mine, is going to go into an occultation and ghaibat, which the riwayat says is going to be so much that achho ke iman jo dagmaga jayenge. And 30 maar khan jo apne aap ko bahut mu'min samajhte hain. People who consider themselves to be very mu'min, their iman will become mutazalzil. Is that this man has been so many years? Is it possible that he could be here?
हमारे नौजवान कहते हैं ना, अब उनके सिलसिले में कभी 15 शाबान में जो हमारा मौका मिला तो हमको बताएंगे, उसके लिए भी जवाब के लिए खुदा ने क्या बंदोबस्त कर दिया, क्या इंतजाम किया. These people who communicate, oh, how can he live for so long? He may live probably twice the size of the life of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam. बट पहले से परवरदिगार आलम ने एक मंसूबा बनाया था टू आंसर दीज क्वेश्चन. बट वो इंशाल्लाह 15 शाबान में हम डिस्कस करेंगे इंशाल्लाह, मौका मिला तो. बट ओवर हियर व्हाट ही डिड इज ही रियलाइज्ड नाउ ये सीना बा सीना जो है आफ्टर सम टाइम इज गोइंग टू डाई अवे, एंड स्पेसिफिकली व्हेन देयर इज नो हुज्जत ऑफ गॉड, then how do you verify what I'm saying is correct or not correct? So he was one of the first pioneers of setting up a sort of a book system to encompass the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt with regards to the most important masail of the Shia faith. Whether it is fiqh, whether it is kalam, whether it is falsafa, whether it is XYZ. I'm giving you one person. You don't have time. I'm giving you one person, Fadl ibn Shahdan. Fadl ibn Shahdan was one of the companion of the 10th Imam. You have a look at the life of individual. We think we recite 11 rakat namaz al-shab, we've done something big. These are those individuals. Fadl ibn Shahdan. Imam would tell him, and he was a mutakallim, he was a faqih, he was a mufassir, he was a filsuf at the time of the Imam. He's been credited with authoring 180 books. 180 books. Imam would say, you write, bring it to me, I will approve it. So that these remain for posterity to come. So that when in future, when the foundation of ijtihad that was laid by Imam Baqir alayhi salam will use these books and which have been approved and written by you to sort out issues that will plague our Shiite world or the Muslim world or the humanity up to the day of judgment to come. So 180 books he would write, he would take it to the Imam, Imam would approve. I'll give you one example. We don't have time to go 180. We probably add, as of now, we don't even have those 180. Because all the books that were burnt, whether they were burnt in Karbala, whether they were burnt in Baghdad, they were burnt in XYZ at the hands of the Wahhabis, at the hands of the enemies. But I'll give you one book, and specifically that is with respect to the Mahdaviyat, to the 12th Imam. One of his books that he's written among the 180 books is the book by the name of, it's also referred to as Al-Ghaiba. Now we got numerous books on the name of Ghaiba. One of the most famous now is Al-Ghaibat al-Nu'mani. But we're not talking about that. Even before that, he's written a book called Ghaiba. It is also referred to by the name of Al-Qaim. This book, Al-Ghaiba or Al-Qaim, is one of the Qadimi Tareen, one of the most ancient, one of the most foremost books credited with sources about Imam Mahdi. And this was written by Fadl ibn Shahdan even before the wiladat of the 12th Imam. And a lot of masail relating to Mahdaviyat, lot of masail, questions, shubahat regarding Imam Mahdi al-Islam are solved because of what he's mentioned and narrated in the books approved by the 10th Imam. This date of 255 Hijri that we talk about the wiladat of the 12th Imam, ye kis mustanad kis baat par hai? It is based on which book? On which book? On the tradition narrated by Fadl ibn Shahban in his book Al-Ghaiba. This 255 Hijri that we say that Imam was born, it is based on his book. We've got a book, ulama tashreef farma. We've got a book, Ilalu Sharai, Shaykh Saduq, rahmatullah alayhi. Shaykh Saduq has written a book, Ilalu Sharai. Name goes Ilal. Ilal means reasons. Sharai means Shariat. In this book, he's mentioned the reasons for numerous things that are there in Islam. So reasons about why certain things are wajib, why certain things are mustahab, why certain things are haram and makruh. Illat bata rahe. Illat bayan ki, ilal bayan ki hai. Ki ye kyun parwardigar alam ne is tarah kiya. Then he's gone on to not just ahkam, even in kalam. Why was Adam called Adam? Reason hai. Why did this take place? Falan. Why was this person called this person? Mention. Why was certain animals made wild animals and certain made domestic animals? देखिए एक बात याद रखिएगा, in the world of God nothing is ad hoc. Everything is calculated, everything is meticulous. ऐसा नहीं कि बस एक मर्तबा खुदा को एक शान आ गया कि हम इसको जो है वाइल्ड बना रहे हैं, इसको हम डोमेस्टिक बना रहे हैं, इसका नाम ये रख दिया, उसका नाम वो रख दिया. खुदा के निज़ाम में there is no ad hoc business. It's all meticulous. It is based on reason because he's Hakim. A Hakim does anything other than with hikmat, he is not Hakim. That means everything has a reason. Everything is meticulous. Everything is planned. So he goes on to mention, Ajeebo Gareebo Kitaba padhiye. Why is a certain animal called by that name? Why did this take place? Why did that incident take place? वो रिवायत जो है वो इलल मासूमीन की हदीस के ज़रिए से जो है वो उसमें वो इलल शराय में तकरीबन जो है वो रिवायत की जो वो तारीख बता रही है तकरीबन 20 pages of that book of Shaykh Saduq has been only narrated by Fadl ibn Shahzan because of the reasons given by the Masumin, specifically Imam Ali Naqi to Fadl ibn Shahzan. Fadl, this was done by Allah because of this reason. This day is called this because of this reason. The fadilat of this is because of this. This animal is called this because of this. This animal is given this form because of this. This is made wajib because of this. Sharai. अब आप सोचिए, these are the ulama, these are those people whom the imams are giving. And you understand one thing, we've got a general rule given by Allah to the ulama, to the imams. And that rule is that imams will talk to people according to their uqul. Inna ma'ashurul anbiya la nukallimu nas inna ma'ashurul anbiya nukallimu nas ala qadri uqulihim. We have been told, we have been ordered by Allah to speak to people according to their level. So the things that that Amirul Mu'minin will say to Kumail is very different from what Salman knows. It's very different from what Salman knows. And what Imam Baqir will say to Jabir ibn Yazid al-Jofi is very different to what he will say to Abu Basir. इंसान के कदर के हिसाब से बात करते, क्योंकि इंसान फिर काफिर बन जाता है. वी गॉट ट्रेडिशन. अगर हर वो चीज जो सलमान को पता है, अगर जो अबूजर को पता चल जाए, तो अबूजर जो सलमान को काफिर ठहरा दे, लकफ़रहू, तकफीर कर देता. He would call him a kafir. What are you talking? That's why everything that Salman knew, Imam did not tell Abu Dhar. Abu Dhar, you've got a level of, you may be on the 9th marhala of Iman, but your level is 9th. Salman is on the 10th level of Iman. He can understand and digest things more than you can. So I will tell him things that I will not tell you. Aap samajhe meri baat? So when you have a person like Imam Ali al-Naqi talking to Fadl ibn Shahzan and giving him all the mysteries of the universe, in which Shaykh Saduq incorporates at least 20 books on numerous abwab of the Islamic teachings, you understand what kind of personalities in the eyes of Imam Ali al-Naqi. So this is one thing. देखिए इसके पर गुफ्तगू जो है, we can give you examples after examples, but we don't have time. So ये एक वही चीज़. दूसरी चीज़ बहुत जल्दी. उसके बाद बस 1-2 मिनट के मसाइब, फिर आप इंशाल्लाह जो भी नौहा खानी कर रहेंगे वो जो है अपने नौहा खानी से उसमें जो है जबरान कर लीजिएगा हमारे मसाइब की कोताही को. Second thing that Imam did very quickly is that you have to understand, whenever a major event takes place, in the aftermath of the major event, there will always be unscrupulous individuals who would try to take advantage of that event and misuse it for their own benefits. Every major event that takes place, after that, there will be unscrupulous individuals who would utilize that event that has taken place to modify things for their own benefit. Examples there? After the Shahadat of Imam Sadiq al-Islam, Imam Sadiq ki shahadat ke baad, what happened? You had the firqa of Ismailiyah coming in. Ismailiyah kaise aaya? Isi baat se aaya na, कि छठा इमाम चला गया, उनके हयात में जो है उनका एक फर्जंद, there was one son who was regarded as, just everybody thought he's going to be the imam after. He said, because that man was so good, Hazrat Ismail rahmatullah alayhi. Now because Imam Sadiq is gone, let's use this man to get something for ourselves. And then you got these two firqas coming on, the Bohra and the Ismaili. कहाँ से शुरू हुआ? Hazrat Ismail से शुरू हुआ ना, Ismail ibn Ja'far. What happened after the Shahadat of the 7th Imam? After the Shahadat of 7th Imam, that firqa came up by the name of Waqifiyah. Why did it come up? How did it come up? Who started the firqa, the firqa al-Waqifiyah? You know who started it? The same wukala, the same representatives of Imam Kadhim al-Islam who had immense wealth in the form of wujuhat al-Shar'iyah. They had it with them when they found out Imam Kadhim is gone. And now when Imam Rida comes, he may keep some other wukala and other wakils, and we will be forced to give all this huge amount of money to them. They say, they started this new firqas thing, Waqifiyah, the imamat, the stop with the imamat of Imam Kadhim al-Islam. He's not died, he's been taken to heaven like Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. He will come back as the Mahdi, so we are his representatives. We don't need to give this money back to Imam Rida alayhi salam. Who is Imam Rida? He's not an Imam at all, because our Imam is Imam Kadhim al-Islam. He's not dead. He's been taken to the skies. We do waqf. We stop at the imamat of Imam Kadhim. This firqa comes to be known as Firqatul Waqifiyah. समझ रहे आप मेरी बात? Unscrupulous people would always utilize big events. और एक अजीब मरहला बन चुका था ये वाकफियत का एक अजीब मरहला. All the imams after Imam Kadhim al-Islam had to face this firqa and to counter them. एक जंजाल बन गया था, एक सरदर्द बन गया था इमामों के लिए, because they were bifurcating the Shiites. This Waqifiyya believe in Amir al-Mu'minin, they believe in Ghadir, they believe in Man Kunt Mawla, they believe in Ana Madinatul Ilm, but they say no, this is the Imam. It divided the community. So every time this happens, but when you have somebody who's known to the people, then it is easier to manage it. An event that is taken, if there are certain people who are known to the other people, then it becomes easier to manage the event that has taken place. देखिए शायद मैं अल्फाज से आपको बयान नहीं करूं, लेकिन let me give you an example. देखिए जब मौला जो है, when he was going towards Karbala, at that time on the way to Kufa, he comes to know that Muslim ibn Aqil is martyred. उस वक्त जो है इमाम के पास जो है वो मुस्लिम की बेटी थी, सही थी, Muslim's daughter was the Imam. But because Muslim has passed away, the daughter has become an orphan. But because there was somebody whom she knew, who loved her, for her to bear the loss became easier, as opposed to what happened to Bibi Sakina. When Bibi Sakina, after Ashura, Abbas is gone, Husayn is gone. Now she has nobody to take care of her. For her it is more difficult to handle this loss as opposed to the daughter of Muslim. This is the logic that the 10th Imam used. Meaning what? He says, I know that after I go 6 years, my son will be there, Hasan Askari, and after that, Ghaibat will start. If we keep changing people and the people don't see the Imams, and then they have leadership that they don't recognize, then unscrupulous people will come and make a problem, as the Waqifiyat and the Ismaili did. So we need to have somebody who's a constant, so that people right from my time see that person, so that that person, when he's there, when the 12th Imam goes away into Ghaibat, people are aware that, oh, this man, we've seen him from the 10th Imam, he was at the time of the 11th Imam, now he's also the representative of the 12th Imam. So we know the deen is in good hands, there are no problems and no confusion. So what did the 10th Imam did? He said, I'm going to name my representative, one individual, Muhammad ibn Uthman. Muhammad ibn Uthman was Uthman ibn Sa'id, sorry, Muhammad ibn Sa'id, Uthman was the second naib. The first naib of the 12th Imam was Uthman ibn Sa'id. This Uthman ibn Sa'id was the first person that Imam Ali al-Naqi in his lifetime kept as his wakil. He says, you're going to be my wakil, and not only you're going to be my naib, you're going to get the permission to do fatwas on my behalf. So you can give fatwas saying Qala Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, and keep doing that. During the entire life of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, Uthman ibn Sa'id was the naib of him. When Imam Ali al-Naqi passed away, then this naib, this representative, also became the representative of Imam Askari alayhi salam. Imam Askari says, because my father kept you as the wakil, I am going to keep you as the wakil. Another 6 years of the imamat of Imam Hasan Askari. And then when Imam Hasan Askari passes away, Imam Mahdi goes into Ghaibat. He says, my first naib is Uthman ibn Sa'id. For a period of, and then after he dies, his son Muhammad ibn Uthman comes. So for a period of 50 years, you have one family who's a representative of the 10th Imam, 11th Imam, and the 12th Imam. People are satisfied. Oh, we know this family. From the 10th Imam, these are valuable. From the 11th Imam, these are valuable. In the Ghaibat of the 12th Imam, these are there. We will trust them because they've been there with 2 other Imams. This creates a lot of satisfaction in the minds of the people. अब देखिए इससे ज़्यादा मैं बयान नहीं कर सकता. बस 2-3 मिनट और मसाइल की जुमले. But this is something very important. Just as the presence of Imam Husayn alayhi salam mitigated the bereavement of Muslim for the daughter, similarly the presence of a person who was known to them mitigated the absence of Imam Ghaib and the confusion, because we know this man from Imam Ali al-Naqi. He was there at the time of Imam Hasan Askari. So now if he is also representing the 12th Imam and the Ghaibat al-Sughra, we are satisfied that yes, things are in control. Things are not haywire. What we are following is correct. It's not like Waqifiyat, and it's not like the Ismaili. Some other person has come up and started saying this is the Imam, and the whole generation becomes diverted to another firqa. But again, as we mentioned, this Mutawakkil and the entire Khulafa, एक इस तरह जो है उनका एक साजिश चलती रही कि जो है वो, जैसे कि मैंने बताया इब्तिदा में, कि पेशन गोई कर चुके थे जो है हमारे मौला, कि जो है ये मुतवक्किल अकफर बनी अब्बास का काफिर तरीन फर्द. और आप यकीन जानिए कितना भी जो है منصور دیوانہ کی شدید العمل تھا، قسی القلب تھا، کتنے بھی جو ہے بنے لباس تھے، لیکن روایت و تاریخ بتاتی ہے کہ جتنا شیعوں کو متوکل سے ضربہ پہنچانا اس کا کسی اور سے نہیں پہنچا. ایک عجیب و شخصیت ہے کہ اس کو پوری داستان بیان کرنے کے لیے تقریباً مجھے 1 گھنٹہ چاہیے. وہ ایک جو کارنامہ انجام دیا، یعنی انسان اس طرح شیعوں کو اور علویوں کو بنا دیا کہ جیسے کہ یہ کتے سے بھی بدتر ہے. یعنی کتوں کے پاس زیادہ حق لیکن ایک شیعوں کے پاس زیادہ حق نہیں. یعنی ایک ایسے something that is absolutely to be abhorred. اس طرح اب دیکھیں ٹائم نہیں، بتا نہیں سکتے کہ کیا کیا ہے، مگر آپ بیٹھیے تو دیکھیے، سنیے، آپ کا دماغ کام نہیں کرے گا. آپ تو صرف یہ سنیں نا آپ کہ بھائی وہ ہاتھ کاٹ دیتا تھا، وہ پیر کاٹ دیتا تھا، ایک لوگوں کو یعنی 2 لوگ زیارت پہ جانا ہو تو ایک کو جو ہے وہ قتل کر دیا تھا، دوسرے وہ تو ایک ظاہری بات ہے. امام حسین کے مرکز کو جو ہے وہ منہدم کرنے کی کوشش کی، ڈسٹرائے کرنے کی کوشش، وہ تو ایک حصہ ہے، وہ تو ایک ظاہری امام کے حصے میں. لیکن شیعوں کی نسبت کیا ہے؟ شیعوں کی نسبت جہنم تھا متوکل کا زمانہ. یعنی دعا کرتے تھے پروردگار یا تو موت دے دے، ہمیں دے دے، یا موت اس کو دے دے. اور کتنی بار ایسا نہیں ہے، ہم نے کہا معتز عباسی نے جو ہے مولا کو شہید کیا، اس کا مطلب یہ نہیں کہ متوکل نے کوشش نہیں کی، بارہا کوشش کی، بارہا ذلیل کرنے کی کوشش کی. ایک مرتبہ جو ہے وہ گرمیوں میں ایک کہا کہ جلوس نکالا جائے، اس میں جو ہے مجبور کیا مولا کو کہ آپ بھی جلوس میں شامل ہو. خود جو ہے صاحبان کا نیچے چل رہا ہے، اور اس کی جو ہے وہ عراق کی گرمیوں کے طرف میں مولا کو جو ہے بنا صاحبان، آپ چلتے رہے، ہم چلیں گے، ہم گھوڑے پہ سوار ہوں گے، صاحبان کے نیچے ہو گئے، آپ گرمیوں میں پیدل چلتے ہوں گے، ذلیل کرنے کے لیے. تو لوگ نے کہا کہ بس اس کا ارادہ ہے کہ جو ہے یہ امام کو قتل کرنے والا ہے، بس آج جو ہے اس کا ارادہ ہے امام کو قتل کر دے گا، ذلیل کرے گا پھر قتل کر دے گا. مولا کے کان پہ بات ہے تو مولا نے ایک جملہ کہا، ایک آیت پڑھی، وہی آیت جو میں ابتدا میں پڑھی، فَعَقَرُوهَا. یہ جناب صالح کا ناقہ کا واقعہ ہے کہ جب جناب صالح نے کہا دیکھو یہ ناقۃ اللہ ہے، یہ اللہ کا ناقہ ہے، اس کو چھیڑنا نہ کرنا، اس کو جو ہے مارنا نہیں، اس کو اذیت نہ پہنچانا، یہ خدا کی نشانی ہے. تو ایک مرتبہ جو ہے قرآن بتایا فَعَقَرُوهَا، انہوں نے جو ہے اس ناقے کو قتل کر دیا. تو ایک مرتبہ خدا کی طرف سے بھائی آتی، ان سے کہہ دو فقال، تو کہا گیا، نبی نے کہا، کیا کہا؟ تمتعوا فی دارکم، اپنے گھروں میں جو ہے وہ عیش اور آرام سے رہو 3 ایام، 3 دن. یہ قرآن کی آیت ہے. فَأَقَرُوهَا فَقَالَ تَمَتَّعُوا فِي دَارِكُمْ 3 ایام فَذَلِكَ وَعْدٌ غَيْرُ مَكْذُوبٌ. 3 دن تم اپنے گھر میں مزہ کرو، عیش کر لو، تمتع کر لو، انجوائے کر لو، کیونکہ 3 دن کے بعد جو آنے والا ہے وہ وعدہ ہے غیر مکذوب، جھوٹا وعدہ نہیں ہے. اور ایسے ہی ہوا، 3 دنوں کے بعد جو ہے خدا کا عذاب آیا، تمام قوم میں جو ہے وہ قاتلین ناقہ صالح کو جو ہے خدا نے جو ہے منہدم کر دیا، جو ہے ہلاک کر دیا. جو ہے وہ یہ روایت، یہ آیت کو پروردگار، یہ امام علی النقی جو ہے وہ سنتے ہیں کہ جو ہے متوکل اب مولا کو قتل کرنے والا ہے. جیسے سنا، ایک مرتبہ یہ آیت کی تلاوت کی، صحابی تھا وہ سن چکا، ایک صحابی نے سنا، دوسرے صحابی جو زیادہ معرفت رکھتا تھا کہتے ہیں کہ جو ہے لوگ کہتے ہیں کہ جو ہے وہ مولا کو شہید کرنے والے مولا نے یہ آیت پڑھی. تو نے واقعاً سنا مولا نے یہ آیت کی پڑھی؟ کہتے ہاں میں نے سنا. فَعَقَرُوهَا، قتل کر دیا ناقے کو، 3 دن کا وعدہ ہے، فَذَلِكَ وَعْدٌ غَيْرُ مَكْذُوبٌ، یہ جھوٹا وعدہ نہیں ہے. بس جیسے سنا ایک مرتبہ کہا کہ اس کا مطلب ایک پیشن گوئی مولا کر رہے ہیں کہ 3 دن کے بعد جو متوکل مرنے والا ہے. اور ایسے ہی ہوا، وہ واقعے کے بعد 3 دن کے بعد متوکل ہلاک ہو گیا. مولا بچ کے وہ ہلاک ہو گیا. لیکن مولا کب تک بچتے ہیں؟ سازش ان کے لیے مناسب نہیں تھا کہ مولا کو زندہ رکھا جائے. ایونچولی مولا کو جو ہے قتل کرنا ضروری تھا، ورنہ جو ہے وہ they were not stabilized، ان کو آسانی نہیں تھی، آرام نہیں تھا. تو ایک مرتبہ وہی سازش، یا تو تلوار کی سختی یا زہر کی تلخی. ایک مرتبہ زہر دیا گیا، اب دیکھیں مولا کی حالت کیا ہے. زہر جو ہے جسم میں اثر کرتا ہے، زہر جو ہے وہ اپنا رنگ دکھا رہا ہے. اب جو ہے مولا جو ہے اپنے بستر پر پڑے حالت احتضار میں ہے. بس ایک بیٹا ہے حسن عسکری ساتھ میں. اب سوچئے غربت کا تقاضا اور غربت کی حالت. ایک مولا دنیا سے جا رہے، ایک بیٹا اپنے باپ کے پاس بیٹھا ہے. ایک مرتبہ روایت کہتی ہے کہ مولا عسکری علیہ السلام نے اپنے بابا کے سر کو اپنے سینے سے لگایا، مگر اب کیا کرے، خدا کے قضا اور قدر ہے. ایک مرتبہ جو ہے مولا علی النقی علیہ السلام کی روح پرواز کر گئی، اور وہاں جو ہے وہ مولا حسن عسکری علیہ السلام جو ہے وہ رہ گئے. روایت کے جملے، ایک مرتبہ اپنے گریباں کو چاک کیا، ماتم کرنا شروع کیا. ارے میں کہوں گا مولا آپ نے گریبان کو چاک کیا، آپ نے ماتم کرنا شروع کیا، آپ نے گریہ کرنا شروع کیا. ارے ہمیں پتا ہے ہماری تسلیتیں آپ کو، ہمارا پرسہ آپ کو، آپ کے بابا کا انتقال ہوا، لیکن مولا بغادب ایک سوال پوچھوں، ایک نہیں 2-3 سوال پوچھوں؟ کیا آپ کے بابا کو 3 دن تک بھوکا پیاسا رکھا گیا تھا؟ ارے کیا آپ کے بابا کا سر جسم سے قلم کیا گیا تھا؟ اے مولا کیا آپ کے بابا کا لاشا مرنے کے بعد شہادت کے بعد پامال کیا گیا تھا؟ اے مولا ایک بیٹا میں کربلا میں جانتا ہوں جو تینوں مرحلوں کو دیکھ چکا. اے میرا مولا امام سجاد، ارے آنکھوں کے سامنے 3 دن کا بھوکا پیاسا مارا گیا. ارے اتنا شدید ضربہ پہنچا، 35 سال کی امامت، 35 سال کربلا کے واقعے کے بعد زندہ رہے، مگر 35 سال میں جب بھی کسی جانور کو ذبح ہوتے دیکھتے تھے، ایک مرتبہ جو ہے کربلا کا رخ کرتے تھے، ہائے میرا بابا پیاسا مارا گیا، ہائے میرا بابا بھوکا مارا گیا. ارے ان نانجیبوں نے ارے جانوروں کی طرح میرے بابا کو
سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون ألا ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. ماتم حسين.
یا حسین یا حسین. تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا. غربت میں مار ڈالا، غربت میں مار ڈالا، ہے بابا عسکری کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے. کچھ اس لیے بے امت دشمن ہوئی نقی کی، کچھ اس لیے بے امت دشمن ہوئی نقی کی. بیٹا یہ فاطمہ کا، بیٹا یہ فاطمہ کا ہم نام ہے علی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا. سانسیں اکھڑ رہی تھی آنکھوں سے خون روا تھا، سانسیں اکھڑ رہی تھی آنکھوں سے خون روا تھا، گرد تڑپ نہ پایا لاشا بھی اس دکھی کا، کھل کر تڑپ نہ پایا لاشا بھی اس دکھی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا. سوکھے ہوئے کنویں کا قیدی جانتا ہے، سوکھے ہوئے کنویں کا قیدی جانتا ہے، عالم تھا کربلا میں کیسا وہ تشنگی کا، عالم تھا کربلا میں کیسا وہ تشنگی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت مولا علی اپنے ہی گھر میں آخر تربت بنا کے سویا، اپنے ہی گھر میں آخر تربت بنا کے سویا، مدت سے در بدر تھا فرزند یہ نبی کا، مدت سے در بدر تھا فرزند یہ نبی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے علی نقی، صدیوں کے بعد بھی ہے اکبر دلوں میں نفرت، صدیوں کے بعد بھی ہے اکبر دلوں میں نفرت، یوں ہی مزار ایک دن ڈھایا گیا نقی کا، یوں ہی مزار ایک دن ڈھایا گیا نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا، غربت میں مار ڈالا، غربت میں مار ڈالا ہے بابا عسکری کا، تابوت اٹھ رہا ہے مولا علی نقی کا، تابوت
بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات، اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد۔ السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیک یا نبی اللہ، السلام علی علی امیر المؤمنین، السلام علی فاطمة الزہراء سیدۃ نساء العالمین، السلام علی خدیجة الکبریٰ ام المؤمنین والمؤمنات، السلام علی ابی طالب، السلام علی مولاي الإمام الحسن المجتبى سبط رسول الله وريحانته وسيد شباب أهل الجنة، السلام على أئمة الهدى من ولد الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، السلام عليك يا مولاي ابن مولاي غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته، زيارة الإمام التقي عليه السلام، السلام عليك يا ولي الله، السلام عليك يا حجة الله، السلام عليك يا نور الله في ظلمات الأرض، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك وعلى آبائك، السلام عليك وعلى أبنائك، السلام عليك وعلى أوليائك، أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وتلوت الكتاب حق تلاوته وجاهدت في الله حق جهاده وصبرت على الأذى في جنبه حتى أتاك اليقين، أتيتك زائرا عارفا بحقك مواليا لأوليائك معاديا لأعدائك، فاشفع لي عند ربك، وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين۔ السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله، السلام عليكم يا حجج الله، السلام عليكم يا نور الله في ظلمات الأرض، السلام عليكم صلوات الله عليكم وعلى آل بيتكم الطيبين الطاهرين، بأبي أنتم وأمي لقد عبدتم الله مخلصين وجاهدتم في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاكم اليقين، فلعن الله أعداءكم من الجن والإنس أجمعين، وأنا أبرأ إلى الله وإليكم منهم. يا موالي يا مولاي يا أبا إبراهيم موسى بن جعفر، يا مولاي يا أبا الحسن علي بن موسى، يا مولاي يا أبا جعفر محمد بن علي، يا مولاي يا أبا الحسن علي بن محمد، أنا مولى لكم مؤمن بسركم وجهركم، متضيف بكم في يومكم هذا وهو يوم الأربعاء، ومستجير بكم فأضيفوني وأجيروني بآل بيتكم الطيبين الطاهرين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في الأرض يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، يا إمام الإنس والجان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك، وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك، وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك وشيعتك ومحبيك، ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن.
Testing, testing.